I always respected you, and I saw leadership from the beginning. You know, we go way back from the first time Lincoln introduced me to you. You know, I hate to use him, but I saw a Pinling. I saw a younger Pinling. I mean, you're now with the Free National Movement, but Pinling is still the forefather of our country. Yeah. I saw somebody who was not afraid to speak, to say what was on his mind. And when he spoke, I heard wisdom, I heard planning, I heard vision. So I think, to me, it is a smart move to join one of the bigger parties or the existing parties, and I can see yourself working your way up to where you want to be. You know what I mean? The BDM, you were the leader, but like you said, elections were expensive, and you know, you're now in a party you're now in the governing party, and who knows, perhaps this party may win the next election, you may win your seat, and you will be in the House of Parliament. And that is exactly where, not only where you want it to be, but where you need to be.
Yes, and that is the objective. The objective is for us now to strengthen the FNM, to show the Bahamian people that this is the better choice, and to position ourselves to win and to be in the House of Assembly, to make that contribution that we've been longing to make. We've been on the outside making a lot of contribution, and everybody who is fair-minded and who understand and been following what we've been doing know that we've been making our contribution. But you do know that there's only so much we can do out of the House of Assembly. And so if we're given an opportunity to be in the House of Assembly and to make a greater contribution, we can help more people. There's so much people in this country that are hurting, and my heart goes out to all of them. I want to be in the position that I can help rebuild our country, to strengthen the individual, to strengthen the family structure, to make sure that the Bahamas is a better place. And I believe that we can fix some of the problems. The problem is that, you know, you need to bring all minds together. In our country, what we do is we have a division along the line, your FNM, your PLP, and so your wisdom is not good for me. I think, I think if we can bring all minds together for one common goal, to fix the country, I think it'll be good. And so what happens is that, who loses when, you keep this good knowledge you have, is that everybody loses, because if the crime situation is not fixed, if the social structure is not strengthened, then everybody is affected.
Hi, and welcome to another exciting episode of Controversy TV. That was the soft side. Now this is the tough side. This is the controversy you know. The people are saying you are Cassius Stuart. The people are saying Cassius should not be, you should not pay any mind to Cassius because Cassius had his party. He was doing good. He promised the people a lot of stuff, and now he's sold out to the FNM. What do you say to those people out there who's saying that you are like a sweet and sour gum to them out? You know, they can see the positive within you, but you leave a sour taste because you've now joined the FNM.
Well, you have, when we were in deliberations, and I said to our team, I said, listen, our decision to either work with either one of these parties will hurt a lot of people. And I understand that. For me, selling out was quitting altogether. I'm a businessman. I prefer being in my business, making money. Being here on this show means I'm not in my office making money. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Being out there on a talk show, on a TV or campaigning, that means something got to give. I ain't making money. And so for me, that was an option. And someone said to me, he said, listen, Mr. Stuart, you don't have the luxury of quitting on us. And, selling out is mean quitting. We're not selling out. What we're doing now is we're strengthening our resolve. We're taking our vision, our leadership, and joining it with the vision and the leadership of the Free National Movement so that we can have a stronger entity and a stronger organization.
But why the FNM, after all of the noise in the market? There's a lot of talks going around saying the FNM has failed, the FNM this, the FNM that, Hubert Ingraham needs to go, he's a sellout prime minister. I mean, you hear talk after talk after talk after talk.
But it's propaganda, and politicians are, I've been on the other side, and politicians use rhetoric to try to paint a picture so that you can see it their way. And most of the times it's not necessarily true, or there may be a snippet of truth to it, and so you just put a spin to it. And so, I said in the newspaper the other day, you have to stay away from absolutes, because sometimes it traps you when you say he's never ever done nothing. I mean, everybody knows the Rt Hon Prime Minister has done a lot for this country. Everybody knows he loves this country. And so if you try to paint a picture that he doesn't love this country, then you're really being disingenuous, and you're being a little bit evil, if I could push it that far. And so when you look at Mr. Christie has given tremendous service to this country. What, almost 30 years in Parliament, and nobody can even touch their record. These guys have been given their entire life to this country, and so they both should be commended. And their record and their intention should not be questioned. What I want to say is that there's never been in the history of the country one scandal about Mr. Christie nor Mr. Ingraham in terms of any impropriety. And so that is to be commended. So who are we to, to really question their loyalty? And so...
But can we question the fact that their time is upon them?
No, I mean, you can question...
They must now move on and make space for new blood. Can we question that?
You can question that all, you have every right to question that. And so, what we're really looking at is management styles. What I do believe is that as time changes, management styles need to change. We are now in a whole new, a brand new world. We just came through a global recession. We just came through economic crisis. You have new standards are being set globally, and so we need a different way of managing stuff. In the Bahamas today is not the same Bahamas 10 years ago. So we need to do things differently. And so sometimes right now we've been dealing with crime perhaps with a pat on the arm. We got to be a little more aggressive now because times have changed. And so the leadership needs to now deal with it more aggressively. And somebody always say, when we were younger, my mother used to beat us. Now she get older, she don't even beat these grandchildren no more, because after a while they become softer and things change, and so we need now.
But what are your views on corporal punishment? What are your views on neck popping?
Well, don't say it that way.
It's the same, hanging, neck popping.
I believe in capital punishment. I support capital punishment. I believe in corporal punishment. I mean, I get beaten many times in school. And I don't think, I think that it made me a better person. I remember many times my grandfather just tearing me up. But now looking back, I can appreciate it. And now when I have to beat my kids, even though it hurts my heart to do it, I have to do it.
Exactly.
I said I have to do this because I don't want you to go out there in public embarrassing me and embarrassing yourself. So you have to begin to curb behavior. And sometimes these behaviors, because they were not curbed when they were younger, they begin to display themselves as they get older. And so we have to now be firm. When dealing with crime, we got to be firm.
And I agree with you, and one of my favorite quotes is, "He who the Lord loveth, he chastises it."
Exactly.
And so a lot of times, I love the Progressive Liberal Party. I love what they have done for my Bahamas. I love the Free National Movement. I love what they have done for my Bahamas. But there comes a time that Utah Taylor Roll has to chastise the Progressive Liberal Party, and I have to chastise the Free National Movement. Even though I love them.
That's acceptable. And because you beat your children doesn't mean you don't love them. Because you discipline your children doesn't mean you don't love them. And there's one proverb that says, "I discipline you because I love you."
Exactly, exactly.
And so challenging
spare the rod, you spoil the child.
And challenging the leadership of an organization doesn't necessarily mean you hate them. It's because you want better. It's something called atrophy. It's something called atrophy or political atrophy. Atrophy is if you go in space and because your muscles are not used, it becomes weak and it dies. Same thing in life. If there's no pressure on you, what happens is you don't have that friction against you. You will become complacent and useless.
Yeah.
Everybody needs that friction every now and again. And so you don't want to develop what I call political atrophy. And so we in a political organization, you need people from time to time to spank you.
Well, let me. I got two questions I need to pop right now. You had an opportunity to speak with the Right Honorable Hubert Ingraham personally, right?
Yes.
What type of person do you think the Right Honorable Hubert Ingraham is? How do he strike you to be? What relationship do you and Mr. Ingraham have?
When I spoke to Mr. Ingraham on the phone, I said to him, he told me we had a meeting at his house, and I said to him, this is really our first time really having a conversation. And I said, if we are to work together, then I think we should get to know one another. And he said, absolutely. And so we sat down and we talked for about an hour about him and me, outside of politics and outside of FNM and PLD, but who he is as an individual. And so you get to see the man in a different light. You get to appreciate why he is the way he is and why he's a firm man, why he's a disciplinarian. Because, sometimes when you're growing up, the struggles and the things you have to go through, and I find him to be a very, very, very intelligent man, very warm man, and a man who really loves his country. And the things he does for his country, I don't think is unquestionable.